In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, Ohio, the two-story colonial home of the Carter family stood as a facade of suburban perfection. Its manicured lawn and white picket fence belied the storm brewing within. Emily Carter, a 34-year-old graphic designer, sat on the edge of her bed, her hands trembling as she stared at the text message on her phone. "I'll be home late. Don't wait up." It was from her husband, Michael Carter, a tech entrepreneur whose charm had once swept her off her feet but now felt like a distant memory. Emily's heart sank. She knew what late meant. Another night of Michael's unpredictable moods, his demands, his temper. She tucked a strand of chestnut hair behind her ear and glanced at the clock, 9:17 p.m. Her stepdaughter, Lily, was asleep in the room down the hall, her soft snores a reminder of the fragile peace Emily clung to. At 16, Lily was Michael's daughter from his first marriage to Sarah, a woman Emily had never met but whose shadow loomed large in their lives. The front door creaked open downstairs and Emily's body tensed. Michael's heavy footsteps echoed through the house, each one a drumbeat of dread. She stood, smoothing her sweater, and braced herself. "Emily," Michael's voice was sharp, cutting through the silence. "You up?" She forced a steady tone. "Yeah, I'm here." He appeared in the doorway, his tie loosened, his dark hair disheveled. His eyes, once warm, now glinted with something unreadable. "Why are you still up, waiting to nag me again?" "I wasn't." Emily stopped herself. She'd learned not to argue when he was like this. "I was just checking on Lily." Michael stepped closer, his cologne sharp and overpowering. "You're always so tense. Can't you just relax for once?" His hand reached for her arm, but she stepped back instinctively. "Michael, I'm not in the mood tonight," she said, her voice low but firm. "Please." His jaw tightened. "Not in the mood. We're married, Emily. This is what married people do." His tone was teasing, but there was an edge to it, like a blade hidden in silk. "I said no, Michael." Her voice wavered, but she held her ground. "I don't want to." His hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. "You don't get to decide that." "Let go." Emily yanked her arm free, her heart pounding. "Don't touch me." Michael's face darkened, his eyes narrowing. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." He stepped closer, backing her against the wall. "Why do you always have to fight me?" Emily's breath hitched. "I'm not fighting, I just want you to stop." But Michael didn't stop. His hands were on her now, rough and unyielding, ignoring her protests. The room spun as she pushed against him, her pleas swallowed by his insistence. When it was over, Emily sank to the floor, her body aching, her mind numb. She heard Michael mutter something about her being dramatic before he stormed downstairs. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had to stay strong, for herself, for Lily. She couldn't let this house, this man, break her. The next morning, Emily woke to the sound of Lily's alarm clock blaring down the hall. Her body ached, bruises blooming on her arms and thighs like cruel reminders of the night before. She pulled on a long-sleeved shirt to hide them and forced a smile as Lily shuffled into the kitchen, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "Morning, Em," Lily said, grabbing a cereal box. "You okay? You look tired." "I'm fine, sweetheart," Emily lied, pouring coffee. "Just didn't sleep well. You heading to school?" "Yeah, but I've got band practice after, so I'll be late." Lily's eyes lingered on Emily as if sensing something was wrong, but she didn't press. Emily was grateful for that. Lily had her own struggles. Her mother, Sarah, lived in Seattle, and their relationship was strained, punctuated by sporadic phone calls and unanswered texts. After Lily left, Emily drove to the local hospital for a checkup. The doctor, a kind-eyed woman named Dr. Patel, noticed the bruises immediately. "Mrs. Carter, these marks, do you want to tell me what happened?" Dr. Patel's voice was gentle but probing. Emily hesitated, her throat tight. "It's nothing, just an accident." Dr. Patel handed her a card with a domestic violence hotline number. "If you need help, Emily, we can call someone for you. You don't have to go through this alone." Emily nodded, tucking the card into her purse. She wasn't ready to admit the truth, not yet. But the card felt like a lifeline, a small spark of hope in the darkness. That afternoon, Emily sat in her home office, staring at the card. She thought of Lily, of the life she wanted for her stepdaughter, a life free from fear. She thought of Michael's promises, his apologies, his cycles of charm and cruelty. She couldn't do this anymore. She picked up her phone and dialed the number. Over the next few weeks, Emily began to plan her escape. She contacted a lawyer, Rachel Nguyen, who specialized in domestic violence cases. Rachel was blunt but compassionate, warning Emily that proving abuse in a marriage was tricky without concrete evidence. "You need documentation," Rachel said during their first meeting. "Photos of injuries, medical reports, witnesses, anything that shows a pattern." Emily nodded, her resolve hardening. She started keeping a journal, noting every incident, dates, times, what Michael said, what he did. She took photos of her bruises, her hands shaking as she held the phone. She hated seeing herself like this, reduced to evidence, but she knew it was necessary. One evening, as Emily was cooking dinner, Michael came home early, his mood deceptively light. "Smells good," he said, leaning against the counter. "You're finally acting like a proper wife." Emily's stomach churned, but she kept her voice steady. "Just making pasta. Lily's upstairs doing homework." Michael's smile faded. "You've been distant lately. What's going on with you?" "Nothing's going on," Emily said, stirring the sauce. "I'm just tired." "Tired?" he repeated, his tone mocking. "You're always tired. Maybe if you didn't spend all day sulking, you'd have some energy for me." The words stung, but Emily bit her tongue. She couldn't afford to provoke him, not now, not when she was so close to leaving. But Michael wasn't done. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "You think you can just shut me out? I'm your husband, Emily. You don't get to say no." Before she could respond, Lily's voice cut through the tension. "Dad, stop it." Emily turned to see Lily standing in the doorway, her face pale. "Lily, go back upstairs," Emily said quickly, her heart racing, but Lily didn't move. "Why do you always do this? Why can't you just leave her alone?" Michael's face twisted with anger. "Don't talk to me like that. This is between me and Emily." "It's not just between you," Lily shouted, stepping forward. "I see what you do to her, I hear it. You're a monster." The room exploded into chaos. Michael lunged toward Lily, but Emily threw herself between them, shoving him back. "Don't you dare touch her," she screamed. In the struggle, Lily stumbled, her foot catching on the edge of the rug. She fell backward, tumbling down the stairs with a sickening thud. Emily's scream echoed through the house as she rushed to Lily's side. The teenager was conscious but dazed, her arm bent at an unnatural angle. "Call 911, Emily shouted, cradling Lily's head. Michael stood frozen, his face a mask of shock, and Rage Lily was rushed to the hospital with a fractured arm and a concussion. As Emily sat by her bedside, guilt gnawed at her. She should have protected Lily better. She should have left sooner. The police arrived the next day, their questions pointed but cautious. Michael, ever the charmer, spun a story about an accident, a heated argument, a clumsy fall. "Just a family misunderstanding," he said, his smile practiced and disarming. But Emily was done lying for him. She showed the officers her journal, her photos, the medical reports. She told them about the night Michael forced himself on her, about the years of control and manipulation. The officers listened, their expressions grim. "We'll need more evidence to press charges," one of them said. "Cases like this, they're complicated, especially between spouses." Emily's heart sank, but she refused to give up. She remembered the card from Dr. Patel and called the hotline, connecting with a counselor who helped her file a restraining order. She also reached out to Sarah, Lily's mother, who had moved to Seattle after a bitter divorce from Michael. Sarah answered on the third try, her voice wary. "Emily, what's this about?" "It's Lily," Emily said, her voice breaking. "She's hurt, and I need your help. Michael's not who you think he is." There was a long pause. "I know exactly who he is," Sarah said finally. "What do you need?" Sarah flew to Ohio the following week, her presence a quiet strength. She was tall and wiry, with sharp eyes that seemed to see through everything. Over coffee at a diner, she listened as Emily recounted the years of abuse, her voice steady despite the pain. "I should have known he hadn't changed," Sarah said, her hands clenched around her mug. "He was controlling with me too, but I never thought he'd. I'm so sorry, Emily." "It's not your fault," Emily said, "but Lily needs us, and I need to make sure Michael can't hurt anyone else." Sarah nodded. "I kept records from our marriage, emails, texts, even a police report from when he got physical. I didn't use them in the divorce because I just wanted out, but they might help you now." Emily felt a surge of hope. "Can you testify if it comes to that?" Sarah's jaw tightened. "For Lily, for you, absolutely." Together, they built a case. Sarah's evidence, combined with Emily's documentation and Lily's testimony about the night she fell, painted a damning picture. Lily, still recovering, was resolute. "I saw him hurt you, Emily," she said, her voice trembling but fierce. "I want him to pay for it." The police reopened the investigation, and Michael was arrested on charges of domestic violence and assault. At the station, he maintained his innocence, claiming Emily and Lily were exaggerating, that it was all a misunderstanding. But the evidence was overwhelming. Photos, medical reports, Sarah's testimony, and a video Lily had secretly recorded on her phone during one of Michael's outbursts. The trial was grueling. Michael's lawyer painted Emily as an unstable wife, Lily as a rebellious teenager, and Sarah as a bitter ex. But Emily stood tall, her voice steady as she recounted the years of fear, the nights she'd locked herself in the bathroom, the bruises she'd hidden under long sleeves. Sarah's testimony was unflinching, detailing Michael's controlling behavior during their marriage. Lily, though nervous, spoke clearly about the night she fell, her words carrying the weight of truth. The turning point came when the prosecution played Lily's video. The courtroom fell silent as Michael's voice boomed through the speakers, his threats chillingly clear. "You think you can defy me? You're nothing without me?" The jury deliberated for only 4 hours. Michael was found guilty on multiple counts, including assault and domestic violence. As the judge read the verdict, Emily felt a weight lift from her chest. She reached for Lily's hand, and Sarah placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Michael was sentenced to 7 years in prison, with a restraining order barring him from contacting Emily or Lily. As he was led away in handcuffs, his eyes met Emily's, filled with a mix of anger and disbelief. She held his gaze, unafraid. In the months that followed, Emily and Lily moved to a small apartment in Columbus, a fresh start away from the memories of Willow Creek. Sarah stayed in touch, visiting often and rebuilding her bond with Lily. The three of them formed an unlikely family, bound by their shared strength and survival. Emily returned to her graphic design work, taking on freelance projects that gave her freedom and purpose. Lily thrived in her new school, her confidence growing as she joined the debate team and started writing poetry. Sarah, inspired by their resilience, began volunteering at a domestic violence shelter, helping others find the courage to leave. One evening, as Emily and Lily sat on their balcony, watching the sunset over the city, Lily turned to her. "You saved us, you know, you didn't give up." Emily smiled, her heart full. "We saved each other." The scars of their past would always be there, but so would their strength. In the quiet of their new home, they were finally free.